What's up, guys? My name is Solus Baby, and today I want to talk about the Storm in Anthem. I know I did a brief Javelin overview a couple of days ago whenever the VIP beta was out, and now I want to break down each one of the Javelins a little bit more, going into 6 things that I think are really important about these guys. I wanted to make it 5 just to be uniform, but I just couldn't do it. So, we'll be talking about some abilities, your support abilities, how combos will work, weapons, components, and the playstyle that you should be using to be most effective with these Javelins. So, let's get started right off the bat with abilities. I'm going to focus everything that I'm talking about with these Javelins right now for the entry game. The beginning of the game, what we've got right now, what we're going to have in the very beginning of Anthem when it comes out at the end of February. The reason I'm doing that is because, well, honestly, we don't have access to all the things that are happening in late game, and this is what's going to help you level up faster, be more effective, all that stuff as well. I'll be doing a leveling guide separate from this later. By far and away, the Ice and Lightning pair with the Storm are hands down better than anything else I have tried. Specifically with Frost Shards and Lightning Strike. The reason this setup is so powerful is because Frost Shards not only hits multiple times, has a fast regen, but it also applies the Ice modifier to a target or targets if you've used your 10 little charges well enough. This is a spam thing. You fire it just about like a weapon, and it is fantastic. You apply the Ice with this, and then you smash them with a extremely high damage Lightning Strike, which, by the way, does more damage whenever it's raining, so keep that in mind. With the Storm, the effect when you hit a combo is that the modifier applied to the enemy that you are doing the combo on is spread to other enemies within an AoE. What I mean by that is if you freeze somebody with your Frost Shards and hit them with a Lightning Strike, the enemies around them within a certain vicinity will now be frozen. You can also chain your melees with the Frost, which is also something I'll be covering a little later down the line. So, by far and away, Frost Shards and Lightning Strike, the way to go for entry-level Storm. This might change late game, but like I said, getting out and getting the ball rolling, this is what you should be using. Now, your support, you have 2 different options with the Storm. You have the Wind Wall, which is my personal favorite, which puts up a protective wall in front or behind or to the side, wherever you want it, of your teammates. It's got a certain amount of health, projectiles can't go through it, lasts for a certain duration, all that stuff. This is extremely effective for picking up downed allies, for blocking yourself while you regen your shield, and certain other tasks where you want to stop fire coming from one particular lane. It's like being able to put up your own piece of cover. The other option you have is a quickening field. This increases the recharge rate of gear to everybody that's inside of it. I would say that that would be better if it wasn't the way that you had to place it. The Wind Wall, you can place it from anywhere you want to, halfway across the battlefield if you'd like, and it still be effective. The Quickening Field has to be directly on top of you. Due to the nature of the Storm's playstyle, your team can't take all that much benefit from this because you're usually very far away, high above the fight, dropping down and potentially putting yourself in a harmful situation just to give your interceptor a little bit of a boost, and it's only 20% on their gear, just isn't worth it to me, so I stick with the Wind Wall, specifically for if an ally goes down. I'm usually hovering fly in the sky and didn't get hit by anything. I put the Wind Wall in front of them, zoop down real quick, and that Wind Wall gives me enough time to get that revive without taking too much damage, as long as he's not surrounded. Next up, weapons. Weapons in Anthem are a little weird. If you're used to first-person shooters, stuff like Destiny, it's going to be different for you to get used to using abilities as opposed to your weapons all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, the weapons are extremely powerful, and people don't quite understand how to use them. But for Storm, you've basically got 2 options. One slot, you 100% need to have a long-range weapon equipped, something like a scout rifle or a sniper. My 2 personal favorites for this are the Guardian Scout Rifle, which I do believe they call marksman rifles in this, I apologize, and the Deadeye Sniper Rifle. Very high impact, very high damage, whereas the Guardian is a 3-round burst marksman rifle, doing damage from very far away as well. I personally recommend that in your next slot, you should be using a heavy pistol for the off chance that you need to go down, help a fallen teammate, or if you need to break a combo with your melee, and then start plinking people in the head with this heavy pistol. The resolution, 100% my personal favorite for this, Quick 1-2 punch, I think is what the description says, and it is extremely high damage output. Get yourself out of line of fire very, very quickly. The thing with weapons in Anthem is that they're a secondary byproduct of your abilities, but they're still something that you should be using, especially on things like the boss, where the sniper rifle reigns supreme on some DPS, doing like 5,000 or something per hit on the stronghold boss that we have right now. Next up, we have the components. In my opinion, this is entirely down to personal preference right now, as I don't think any of them are so substantial that we need to say, okay, this one's the best, you need to be using this one. Also, because later in the game, you're going to be able to equip like 7 of these freaking things. Right now, we only have 2. For early game, what I personally run is the heat sink and the ultimate. The reason I run the heat sink is because in Storm, you have to be above the battleground as much as physically possible. You want to be away from things, you want to be in the air, moving around, not getting hit, dodging in and out of cover, all of that. You need to be doing that if you want to be effective as Storm. And Heatsink, what it allows you to do is be in the air longer. Increases the javelin's heat capacity by 10% of the base capacity to allow the javelin to fly more effectively, is its actual description. Anything you get past this is just a great little benefit for you. Now, you might not be like me, you might not like to play Storm like that, you might like to be right down in it, so I completely understand. Ultimate, however, is one that I think is a very universal mod, an inscribed component that augments Javelin ultimate gear and increases damage by 5% of base damage. The Storm is cream of the crop for ultimate damage on things. Whether it's AoE or one solid target, it does a crap load of damage, and augmenting it in any way is just icing on the cake, in my opinion. The other way that I've seen this run is using some armor, or a shield modifier, or maybe even both. These can boost the tankiness of your javelin and allow you to take more hits, therefore stay in the battle longer, especially if you're right down in it with your other teammates. The reason I think people have been running this is because Storm's melee is actually really cool, and he has a lot of really good maneuverability. So if you're doing things like Frost Shard these enemies right here, drop down and hit them with a melee, you'll be able to chain that AoE off to other things, hit them with your heavy pistol, and still be able to get out and out of the way before your shield even gets broken if you have a good shield component. So, multiple ways that you can play Storm, very versatile. In my opinion, I like to be the eye in the sky for the battlefield and raining death from above, so I prefer the former of the two. Last but not least, we of course have the playstyle, like I was just kind of getting into right there. The main thing about it is, with the Storm, you have a huge amount of survivability. I've touched on the playstyle a little bit with what I was saying before, and in my opinion, the best way to play Storm if you're playing with people that are not Storm is to stay as far away from the initial hand-to-hand combat as possible. Now, if you've got 2 Interceptors, a Colossus, and you're the only Storm, there's no reason that you should be down there in that fight. It makes no sense. You have less health than them on the ground, because Storm's ability is that he has a harder shield to break if he is in the air. So you need to let them take care of the melees while you rain support and combos from above, making their lives a little bit easier. But if you're in a full 4 stack of Storms, which it does happen because it's one of the more popular javelins, you might need to spec something like the armor and the shield and become more of a run and gun, frost sharding, high damage output melee character, because its melee recharge is actually pretty good. Wind walls and stuff like that for allies need to be placed where maybe your Colossus is getting shot at, he doesn't have a shield, so he needs to be prioritized, as well as the fact that he can tank a good bit of damage from your Interceptors if he pops off his abilities. That's just my takes on how you should run the Storm. If you guys have any other tidbits, please leave me a comment underneath this video. I will be getting to the other javelins before this open demo is over. Don't worry, regular scheduled Destiny content will not be interfered with in any way, shape, or form. Subscribe to my channel for any more of either of those contents. And with that, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.